So I figured it was about time to take this little 790 Duke for a decent ride. Had a quick fang on it the other day and had a lot of fun on it, but need to give it a bit more of a run. So first impressions when you get on it, it's super small and compact. Seats really low, you know, obviously compared to riding an adventure bike. The pegs are, you know, a bit behind you, but still plenty comfortable enough, but really skinny between the knees and the thighs. There's a number of ride modes you can go in. Street mode smooths the throttle response out a little bit. You've still got full power there. I don't know what they do on the Duke exactly in terms of that, but obviously the ride modes affect all kinds of things like your wheelie control and traction control, things like that. So you got 4 modes: sport, street, rain and track. My understanding, and this is based on not very little knowledge, I haven't done much research about this bike, but my understanding with the track mode is it's still got traction control active, but it's at a much higher threshold, and I think it allows a bit of wheelie action, whereas in the sport and street modes, and obviously rain mode, it restricts the front wheel from lifting off the ground too much, keeps that under control. Let's cruise along here to start with and see how it feels. So 60 k's an hour, it's nice. It feels quite snatchy on the throttle, like even in street mode here. You know, the throttle's I wouldn't say the throttle's sensitive, but it just wants to go until you get a few more revs on. But yeah, super manoeuvrable, so light, really, you know, it's smooth. The suspension works, you know, it feels good at the moment. I mean, it's non-adjustable suspension. You know, you can, well, you can't really see the front forks, but yeah, there's no clicker adjustments at all on those forks. I haven't really looked at the shock much, but I think it's non-adjustable as well, save probably for preload adjustment on the spring is probably all you can do, really. Seating position's awesome, like I'm, you know, really comfortable sitting here with the position of my arms. I mean, I'm not a really tall guy, 178 centimetres. What's that, 5'10" in the old language? But yeah, really comfortable. Seat's good, like you can move your bum backwards and forwards quite a lot actually, so I think that would help to find a good position, yeah, on the longer trips. But this is really good. Like, let's open it up a bit more. Oh yeah, and that pulls hard. So that was a roll on in 3rd gear, and that was enough to get the blood flowing, like as far as, you know, draining the blood out of your head. It's that pulls surprisingly hard. You can see the dash there. It's TFT displays are awesome. They're so clear to read in pretty much all conditions. It is a bit of a look down to the dash, but other than that, the dash is good. Let's give it a crack again. So back to 2nd. And that's the other cool thing, is that it's got a quick shifter on it. No need for the clutch, upshifting or downshifting. You can just bang away at the gear lever. And the sound is great. Listen to that exhaust note on the overrun. When you shut the throttle off the corners and you hear that thing burbling away, it sounds great, popping and farting. And like most bikes with quick shifter, when you short shift them a bit and don't let them wind out, they sound wicked. They just get that little pop in between the gears. It sounds great. Let's try it in sport mode. Roll on in 2nd. That's good, strong. The biggest difference you notice with the sport and street modes, you know, on the 1290 is just a sharper throttle response. So when you, yeah, it doesn't want to lift the front there, but yeah, a sharper throttle response, you know, better punch straight out of the corners. If I go into motorcycle mode now, so I've got traction control and everything on, so if we hold that and keep the throttle closed and then release, so that's turned off traction control on the fly. So that's a good thing to be able to do that on the fly. There's no need to stop. So basically you can engage wheelie mode at will, which I like. Not a bad spot to be test riding a bike, is it? That's Riva del Garda over that way. Very beautiful part of the world. Probably one of my most favourite parts of the world, without a word of a lie. Hopefully you can hear that pop and cackle of the exhaust, because that's one of my favourite things about it. Alright, here's the first couple of corners to try it out on. So go a bit of road race style, getting the knee out. It's nice and easy. There's plenty of tank to hang on to on the other side. And God, it pulls strong out of the corners for an 800. It's really good. Like, you know, I guess my recollection of what an 800 twin, parallel twin is like is from an 800 GS BMW, and they're a very torquey, lazy motor. This is definitely not lazy. It's punchy and goey, and it pulls really strong. So for me, this is a great test or indication of what the 790 Adventure might be, because that's the thing I'm more excited about. But this bike is so much fun. Seat height's really nice and low, great value for money, really well spec'd with the electronics and ABS and everything on them. An absolute gem of a motor. Alright, now we're on a bit of a back road towards Monteboldi. Looks pretty tight in here actually. Might be a struggle to get anything to play on. So I've just put it into rain mode at the moment just to see how that changes the throttle response and everything. And it's definitely smoothed it out quite nicely. It's almost a good mode to run around town in. Close the throttle and it re-engages those different modes really quickly. I don't know if you saw it on the dash there then, but I just went from rain to street and engaged the next mode really easily. I see twisty bits on the map. That's what we want. Whee, look at little cars. So that's with traction control off now, or the wheelie mode engaged. It's quite snatchy on the throttle. Obviously it doesn't have that that lazy V twin grunt. You just you know, as I said, it's more goey. Little light crankshaft on it, flywheel weight, so it really gets up and boogies. But God, it pulls strong and nice out of the corners there. And lordy, does it sound good. Gets up and goes. Hopefully you can see this. So you can see ABS, you can have on or off. ABS mode, you've got road, or watch this, motor slip deregulation is disabled. So basically this is supermoto mode, if you can see that, S-moto. So it means that if you're downshifting into corners, the engine braking is going to be more severe, so you can basically back it into the corners much more aggressively, hard on the brakes. But anyway, let's leave it in road mode. Got quick shifts on and shift light. That's set to 9,000, it lights up and then flashes at 9.5, and that's on. So yeah, got a couple of other things to play with there in the menu. And we've got our ride mode. So let's go track mode now. Ooh, anti-wheelie off, launch control on, leave track, throttle response, track. That's pretty cool. Now I don't know how the launch control works, but let's give that a run. So track mode with traction control on. Yep, now we've got wheelies. So even with traction control on, yeah, the front wheel's still going to lift up. Gyros won't stop the front from lifting, and man, that's got some snot. Yeah, really wants to get up and go. This road's not quite doing it justice. You just want to rev it right out and let it rev. Yeah, cyclist. Check the view out. Riva del Garda down there, and Turbol, I think it's called, where we're staying, which is the first little bay there. And over that ridge, that's Riva del Garda and Lake Garda heading off that way. And over that direction is Stelvio Pass, which we did today. Loads of fun. Alright, let's head back down. Woohoo! This is too good not to record. Listen to that exhaust. This is where this little thing shines. Oh, that sounds so good. That sounds really good. Look at that crack. Coming through the back streets here. And the little 790 Duke, it's very towy. Wants to go, go, go. So if you select rain mode, just slows things down a little bit. So I want to play Jason Bourne in here and go up and down some steps. Let the Carabinieri chase you. Maybe not so good for your licence, but be lots of fun. The scooter race is on. This dude in front of me is having a bit of a go. And the 790 is a perfect thing for it. He's flying! Let's see what sort of crazy overtaking move he tries here. One thing I notice on the dash there, if you go into one of the menus or the modes from the main screen, it'll stay there. Whereas on the 1290, after, I don't know, 30 seconds or a minute, it reverts back to the main screen. Alright, now just for the fun of it, I'm going to swap modes around here. So I'm going to put it in sport mode, close the throttle, that's engaged. I'm also going to turn traction off. That car's behind me though. Quick change there. And it's engaged. Alright, so traction's off. Got a bit of a gap to the cars in front. Second gear, 60. After not having ridden a naked bike for such a long time, you really notice the wind pressure. Once you get up over sort of 100, yeah, you really start to feel that wind pressure on your chest. So with the quick shift, and like pretty much all bikes I've ridden with quick shift, they work better under either hard acceleration or hard braking. They're not so good when you're just poodling around town. So 60 k's an hour here, going from second to third, I think that was. Yeah, it's a little bit sort of snatchy. And again, likewise, if we just roll off the throttle and we're not going super quick, it's not as, doesn't feel quite as smooth, funnily enough, as when you're giving it the absolute berries. So if we go, alright, and you could feel the front end wanting to get light a little bit there in second. I mean, I think to do any sort of real wheelies on this thing, you'd have to put a bit of concerted effort in second gear. First gear probably not so hard. Let's see what that's like. It comes up, but you know, you got to think about the control of it a bit more than I do on the V-twin. Let's try second gear, doing the same thing. Got finger covering and clutch. Probably just need to give that a little stab to prompt it. Yeah, you can get it up there. It's definitely got to put a bit of effort in, and then it feels like control it on balance point. It's obviously going to be harder than the V-twin. The big 1290, you know, just has so much torque in third, fourth gear, you know, or third gear anyway. If the front starts to come back down, you can just open the throttle up a little bit more and it'll come back up again. Whereas with this, obviously, you're going to have to get everything right. Won't carve up the ambulance though. It's probably not the done thing. Let's go off the inside here. Yeah, going full track attack mode, knee down, feels great. It's yeah, quite easy to hang off the inside of it. Get that foot up on the foot peg. Been a long time since I've been knee out on any sort of bike, so this would definitely be one fun ride on a track, that's for sure. It's so light to throw around, the power to weight ratio feels really good. So I'm definitely impressed with this little 790 Duke. Like I said, the most interesting thing for me is to imagine what the 790 Adventure is going to be like when KTM brings that out next year. But they've done an awesome job with this little Duke. Gunter, that we hired the bikes from in Austria, he said he thought KTM got the price wrong because they are so cheap in Austria. I don't know what the price is, but yeah, he said excellent value for money, and yeah, they are well spec'd with all the electronics on it. It's got everything you could want there, as you know, as far as having track modes and ABS and the ability to turn it on and off really easily. That little TFT display is neat, works really well. Suspension, brakes feel great. It's a winner, and that motor is sweet as anything. We've arrived back in Riva now and gonna go for a nice dinner, and I'd say I'd be having a beer before that though. Well, thank you little 790 Duke, it was fun. Hope to do it again someday. Here we are, back at our accommodation for the night, Lido Blue Hotel on the shores of Lake Garda. So I think it's beer time. Thank you very much KTM for building a beautiful little Duke. It was fun. Let's squeeze it in this little hole. Bloop. Thank you. Ciao.